for the week. We are excited to have a little bit of a lighter show today. I went through all the plant-based news headlines as I often do, looking for the really hard-hitting stuff, the activism, but couldn't really find much at all today. So we just have some fun stuff lined up. We've got a listener question that's been submitted. We have some weird stories about Oscar Mayer promoting to be vegan on Vegan Day in a way, and a bunch more stuff, some wacky stuff, some coffee news, some baseball news, all sorts of things like that. So Doug is joining us momentarily. Where is he? He's dancing. I see. There he is. Got him.
Living for the weekend, baby. Here we are.
It's one of those weeks where I'm usually opposed to the hump day mentality. I think we should live every day like it's the day we're living for.
Live every day like it's Friday, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. You were the other day promoting some sort of optimism, right? Some sort of productivity mindset about getting up early.
Monday is it was something about Monday and being like the start of
right.
I don't even know what it was. I'm so far removed from that mindset that I don't even
I know it's 48 hours later. That's a long time ago.
So Matt, I was looking at a photo from our Halloween episode.
Okay.
Because Katie was laughing at your costume and how great it was. But I noticed a pretty major flaw.
Okay.
I appreciated the plaid shirt.
Yep.
But there's a difference between a plaid shirt and a flannel shirt.
There is.
And I'm wondering, do you not own any flannel shirts?
I really try not to. Like I'm not a flannel guy. So I've never really owned a flannel shirt. I happen to have one that I got at Gap or something. But it's just like a little bit too. I don't even know if it classifies as flannel. It's like a heavy. It's not wool because I don't buy wool, but it's like a heavy kind of cotton type button-up shirt. Softer, almost like a t-shirt material feeling. But the plaids were too small. Like the checks were too small in it, so it just didn't look like a Doug shirt.
Okay.
But so the one I had was the closest I had to your pattern, and I thought maybe nobody would notice. But leave it to Mr. Flannel himself to notice that the starch was too much or something.
Oh, I noticed. All right. I do need to take you to REI.
Yeah, take me to REI.
Yeah,
I love going to REI.
Get you decked out in some good flannel gear. I'm kind of surprised you're not a flannel guy. Honestly, like I know the style thing, whatever, but you're cold. You're constantly cold. You're constantly looking for warm things, and flannel is just so cozy, man.
So I know flannel recently only as a Trump thing. I thought that was a sort of a Trump supporter move. Is that not right? I'm far from the politics. But I just catch wind of things, and I thought
flannel is a Trump thing. I've never heard that. I haven't heard that.
I just thought it was sort of a symbol of like it shows people that you're their people. So you better watch. I don't know. You might be sending the wrong message.
I don't know, man. Flannels are a long-standing.
Yeah. Okay.
Doug thing. So I'm just gonna embrace the Doug thing.
Good. I think that's good. I think it's good now and then to get away from the don't do just what the party does. You do your own thing first. So I like that. Good. All right. Doug, did you watch any baseball last night?
I watched some highlights this morning. All right. So Phillies, Astros in the World Series. I'm not a fan of the Astros because they're cheating, lying, cheaters.
Were that.
But once you are you ever not? You're not, so not a fan of the Phillies because they stole Bryce Harper from my team, the Washington Nationals. And it just, ever since then, I haven't really liked Bryce all that much. But so the first few games, I watched one of the games and I watched the highlights, and I just found myself just celebrating anytime either one of the teams did poorly.
Okay.
But today I was watching the highlights again, and I was like, this is sad. It's a sad way to be cheering against people. So I got a little soft spot for the Phillies. They're just so good, and Bryce is just so good that maybe I'm gonna start cheering for the National League team, the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay, good. I mean, they both still sound like National League teams to me. That's the era that I grew up in. To me, that seems like a National League Championship Series game. Yeah, Astros or Phillies. But so I don't know. I'm baseball is sort of it has passed. The game has passed me by. I'm paying attention barely, and I see every game starts out 5-0 or worse, and then last night's the first one that there was no other runs.
Yeah.
So it became 7-0. So yeah, but I saw an article. It's kind of hard to miss this, at least for me. Partly because I check out Morning Brew most days, and I kind of hate read Morning Brew. Like I read it and I'm just like, I hate the phrasings, I hate the jokes, I hate the people who write it. I don't really hate them, but it's fun to like, I don't know. I just look forward to that moment of like not liking it. They talked about this so many times. This thing that don't want to, and the Forbes' version of the headline is "Don't want a recession, root against the Phillies in the World Series." And Forbes even they mention Morning Brew as like the people who
really
this
who figured this out.
Yeah, because I think one of them is from Philadelphia, the Morning Brew people.
Okay.
But they just kept like for like 10 times in a row, they just, as they were reporting, they kept making this joke about the recession and the Phillies, and like eventually it just got very old. But the story is, and it's a bit, this is very, very weak, and it wouldn't matter anyway, even if it was coincidentally true. The Phillies' last four
so it's
World
perfect
Series,
for our show here.
Yeah, exactly. The last 4 World Series wins, first 2 were won by the Philadelphia Athletics when they played in the city. Coincided with recessions. The Athletics' 1929 and 1930 titles came in the early stages of the Great Depression, while the Phillies' 1980 win came amid the energy crisis-fueled downturn and the 2008 title during the worst of the Great Recession. So the dumbest thing about this to me is like, I don't think they're saying that the Philadelphia winning even precedes these things. It just happens during these. But this year, we're saying that they're going to be the cause of the recession if they win, or at least Morning Brew has been saying that. So I honestly, I only root against them now because I don't like the Morning Brew people, and I want them to lose for that.
You have such weird like enemies.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I do. I'm a good person at heart, but I guess I just have to come out. I did read an interesting article, Doug, about from the Atlantic called like how the Moneyball mindset of everything is ruining American culture. And what they had some interesting stats, and I don't have it in front of me. I was going to send it to you, just not even for the show. But the idea, Moneyball, of course, is the sabermetrics, the analytics revolution that happened to baseball, I think in the early 2000s, maybe. And since then, the game has just totally changed in so many ways since then. And apparently now, like the number of, I'm totally botching these stats, but it used to be that there were 2 or 3 times as many hits as strikeouts in a game. And now, like, there's always more strikeouts than hits because players are basically swinging for the fences because they realize that the value of home runs is so much that they've changed their swings, and it's being encouraged by the front office people who are doing all this. Maybe not front office, but the people the analytics people are saying go for home runs. We're not playing small ball. Singles aren't really valuable. Stolen bases aren't valuable. Bunts aren't valuable. In fact, they're not valuable because you lose an out. And so baseball has changed in this different way now. And the article was saying this is not the baseball that any of us grew up with, the charm any of us liked. It's just about home runs and strikeouts. And the bigger point was that that's sort of sweeping across the culture. Everything is getting optimized and analyzed, and we do and so like we kind of take away this charm of everything by making it so perfect. And that resonated a lot with me. You and I have talked sometimes on this show, maybe more on No Made Athlete Radio, about how we used to be all like driven with like morning routines and stuff like that. And nowadays I think there's so much more value, charm perhaps, in like a morning that isn't structured at all. And you have coffee, maybe you fall into a routine, and sometimes you got to be careful with what you fall into. But I don't know. I really like just kind of like living, and like I'm so like right. I just got a workout done. In fact, that's why I'm late for this. Not late for preparing for the show. I've been on workout thing with my son, so it's not like I'm just wasting the whole morning. But I'm also not like up at 6 a.m. having to get the workout done first thing. And some people have to do that. I get it. That's fine. But I'm really enjoying recently this workout sort of mindset of like do it when it's convenient. And I don't know. I just like under optimizing things. I don't even like the word optimized. To me, it just sounds like internet culture now. And I'm just out on it.
You're out on optimize, huh?
I am. I think.
So we're going to start changing all of our branding on compliment stuff?
No, because that's what the internet wants, and that's what people want when it comes to supplements. I get all that, but I'm.
No, I get it. I agree with you on so many levels. It started with kind of like the hacking culture, like hacking your way to success.
Yep.
And then just this pressure to kind of optimize every little aspect, your morning routines, your sleep, your meals, your workouts,
your work habits,
your work habits, all this stuff. Optimize the way your desk is set up, and all all of your routines and your breaks and all this stuff. And it just, we, like you said, we talked a lot about how it becomes so overwhelming. You just don't do any of it. And it'd be so much better if you just just kind of lived your life and tried to get a little bit better and try to focus on what was interesting to you, and integrate workouts whenever you can, or healthy foods whenever you can, and then you're probably going to end up being so much better. And so I definitely agree with this. I'd love to read the article if
Yeah,
you can find it
I'll
again.
send it over to you. Yeah, I think
And
the thing, it's like hacking is. I think our natural tendency as humans is not to hack things, right? It's just to live like a human, right? You much more in tune with bodies and the world and the weather and environment than we are nowadays. But science allows us to find these shortcuts and things that would allow us to do better than we naturally do, in theory, on the surface at least, better than we do on our own. And then it just it goes into one area, then it goes into another area, and soon I feel like like we said, everything is hacked, and the richness of life, just the in betweens, the little bit of variety, like it's lost. And I guess you could try to build it into your optimized day, but I can't imagine that's going to lead to a lot of fulfillment for people. It'll be interesting to see if down the road we find out that there are less happiness and less fulfillment from people who do this, or perhaps more, because it also, like I said, does prevent you, perhaps if you're really good at it, from slipping into what might be years of not working out,
right.
Bad mindset, all kinds of things could happen by just refusing to do any of this stuff.
I mean, it's a super attractive idea, right? Concept, right? Like if you can be the best at eating something and optimize it to where you're getting the most nutrients from it, or workouts, to optimize your workouts so that you're getting the most from them, they're the most efficient, and you have the gains are rapidly increasing. Gains, got to work on those gains. I mean, that's really attractive, right? I mean, of course, you want to try to do that. It's like there's a reason why we're doing that. And now that we have all this data on our wrists, and we have all this data and science and studies, like it's hard to ignore that stuff. I think that the balance comes from finding what it is that you care about enough to want to try to improve it and optimize it, and what's not worth it, what's not worth the hassle, and what's just going to become a distraction.
Yep, I think that's right. And I find myself these days having like one or two things at a time that I'm like really focused on, and I'm trying to optimize in some way. But everything else, just let it be normal. Nuffa, I mean, is that your friend Doug?
Yep.
One of your hooligans here.
Shout out Alex.
Nice, good shout out. 2 shouts outs in a row from you, Doug. Yesterday was Cousin Mary and somebody else.
I know.
Let's keep a cap on that. Alex says maybe it's the hacking urge is fading as we get older, and that's a nice segue to this next article, which is from Inc. 2 non-plant-based articles in a row here, Doug, but that's okay. We had a big plant-based day yesterday, with lots of veganism day, really, which is fun, and I like mixing things up. But today, lighter articles better. Anyway, this is a coffee article. My mom sent me it. It's from Inc. It says, "Love coffee. Science says the 1 week rule maximizes productivity, focus, and learning." And this one caught my eye because it's kind of an attempt to optimize your coffee intake and use it in a way that's most helpful for productivity.
Yeah. Okay.
At the same time, it kind of gets to what I think is a more natural way to live, which is not to rely on caffeine all the time. Because somehow any sort of addiction that has crept into your life doesn't feel like that's natural anymore. But anyway, so the idea here is that because, and I think people know this, that when you drink coffee, you gradually feel less and less of an effect from it. And in general, that effect that you feel is a positive thing. I think that's the reason we drink coffee, is to feel alert. And also often, like when I first started drinking coffee, like I was in just a great mood. Like I would be excited about things. I would love to have a cup of coffee, read a book. I'd want to talk to people, which I otherwise don't. It's just a very positive thing that I could tell no real downsides, side effects. I mean, minimal. Plus, we've talked recently about the longevity benefits, perhaps, of coffee from larger amounts, 3 to 5 cups per day, which I don't usually drink. But anyway, the point is the effect wears off, and so after a few weeks, the impact you're feeling is very less than it is on day one, which, according to the science, is the biggest effect you feel is day one of drinking coffee after not having done it for a while. And the reason this gets back to, I think, the old days is I used to be gung-ho. Like when I started No Meat Athlete, there were several articles about quitting coffee. It was like a big focus of mine. I viewed it as one of my vices that I had to get rid of. It was like if you were drinking alcohol every day, you say, I got to stop drinking quite so much. It was like that for me. Coffee was something I thought I had to stop doing. And so I had like 30-day challenges to quit it and all this stuff. And I remember when I came back from a 30-day challenge and had a cup of coffee, I got like a medium or a grande coffee from Starbucks. and I went to the grocery store, and it was like I was literally on drugs. I mean, that's what it is. But I remember looking at the cereal boxes and just like my head was like, I was kind of dizzy and like on a cloud. And it was like, just, I was like, wow, this is a punch in the face in a good way, having not had coffee for 30 days. So what the point was, and this is what your friend Alex's point kind of was for me. I was like, I can't believe I was that motivated when I was younger to like force myself to get off coffee. I remember just like staring at people drinking coffee and I just wanted it, but I was like, no, I'm like going to make this happen. So it's funny how different we are now that nowadays I don't care. I'm like, coffee's fine. But anyway, the point of the article is that they say every month take a week off from coffee. And I don't think this is based on any real science. I mean, they're coming up with the recommendation based on what the science says. I don't think they've studied anybody who actually does this and found that this is a productive way to live. But the idea is that that's just long enough to where you're hitting the real diminishing returns of the caffeine hit that you're getting because your body's adapting. And so you take a week off, and that in theory is enough to reset it so that then when you get back on it, you're ready to go again. You feel all the benefits, and you live a life that is filled with the benefits of morning coffee
Right.
that only slightly decay over time. And then every week you reset, or every month you reset it. So that seems kind of like an interesting idea. And last thing I'll say, Doug, and then I'll let you comment, is I saw a Michael Pollan thing. Michael Pollan has a book about, he's turned his attention from food to like, it seems like, drugs and things like that. Like
psychedelics.
Yeah, LSD. And I saw an interview with him talking about how he was trying this thing. And I think he was trying more like drink coffee once a week, like only on your most productive day. And for him, it was Saturdays.
Wow.
And he said that was like, it was like just a huge wake up at like how exciting life could feel and how productive you could be with coffee if you only did it in that targeted kind of optimized way.
But how do you like, what do you do on the other days? Like nothing? You just do you just like, what about the other 6 days of the week, or during that 1 week, are you just really unproductive because you're coming down from caffeine? Or do you replace it with something like matcha or something like that doesn't have caffeine but still gives you a bit of a rush?
Well, matcha's got plenty of caffeine.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Matcha's green tea,
Okay.
right? Ground green tea.
I thought matcha didn't have caffeine, but I might be wrong about that.
Have you been feeding Eliza and Chloe matcha drinks all the time, saying, here's a caffeine-free drink, kids?
Yeah, no, I have not been giving them matcha. I'm going to look this up.
Anyway. Yeah. So, no, I think the idea probably is that once you're actually in this rhythm, I would think that after whatever it is, 22, 23 days of having coffee, maybe the effect isn't going to be so great to just not have it for a week. Maybe it won't be a huge crash, especially because the point is your body isn't all that adapted yet by the time you're taking this break. Because in theory, you're taking a break soon enough that you're not fully adapted. So yeah, I don't know if they don't mention that, but I think the point would be that you don't need coffee.
Matcha is highly caffeinated, says Mr. Jeffrey. Okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's more than even regular green tea.
Slower rise and fall, though. Okay.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, tea in general has a slower effect.
All right. Well, yerba mate, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yerba mate also has plenty of caffeine.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. It's different, but it has plenty of caffeine.
Okay. All right. Well, then I won't. Then I can't rely on either of those. So
no, you cannot.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would like to. Can't even remember the last time I didn't have coffee, at least once during the day. But you know what I do is like I've quit drinking coffee before long runs and things like that. So sometimes I'll have coffee. It'll be later in the morning, and so I'll skip the whole like morning coffee thing, and it does feel better. But I don't know.
All right. So Whole Health Experience is telling us maybe her first false fact. She says it is natural, but no caffeine in yerba mate. But I am Googling, and it says the caffeine content in a cup of yerba mate is comparable to that in a cup of coffee and is about 80 milligrams. So that is solved, according to me. So anyway, bit of a tangent we went on there with the caffeine.
Yeah.
Which actually, again, segues into another one. Okay, so hold on. Jody says this would be a fun experiment. I would love to see if somebody actually tries this. I'm not going to try it because I don't want to stop drinking coffee for a week, honestly. If I did some sort of fast or something when I'm intentionally staying away from that stuff, then perhaps I would do it. And then maybe after that, I could attempt this thing. But like I said, I'm not motivated like I was when I was younger to do these challenges. I just want to have a nice cup of coffee in the morning. Okay, so um, let's see. We have a question, Doug. We have a listener question. This is from Lindsay, NMA Radio and Plant Based Morning Show listener. So I don't know if you're here, Lindsay, or if you just listen to the podcast. More likely the podcast because that's where most people listen. But anyway, the question is, she's running or following the No Limit Athlete Marathon roadmap. Good to know people still do that while training for Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend in January 2023. Question for us. She's running in 2 events, the 5K on Thursday, the half marathon on Saturday. Biggest concern is the early start time because you're supposed to be on the Disney bus to the start line by 3 a.m. Races start at 5 a.m. And no actual knowing what time she'll begin running because she's not in the first corral. So the question is, what's the best way to plan? Should I replicate the timing with a few of my long runs? How should I fuel? Normally eat peanut butter and banana on a slice of toast to give myself time to go to the bathroom before long runs, but I'm not sure I'll have time for that on race mornings. Any recommendations? So, Doug, why don't you go first? I've got a little bit of Disney marathon experience, and I had similar struggles kind of with the start time. But what any thoughts here? You've started plenty of ultras very early in the morning, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's the only experience I have with like something this early is a 5 a.m. or even a 4 a.m. Ultra start. And that, I think there's only so much you can do, right? I mean, most of us aren't going to wake up at 3 a.m. and stand around for 2 hours to start their long run at 5 a.m. and kind of train in that process. Like, I guess the best thing you could do is probably do that every Saturday for every long run, and then you're accustomed to it. But maybe that actually isn't the best thing because then you're just so tired throughout the rest of the week because you screwed up your sleep schedule. Right. But I think that shifting up a little bit, kind of practicing a little bit of those morning starts. A lot of us run early on the weekends anyway, and so just trying to shift up a little bit to get ready. And then what I would do is probably just, instead of taking your time eating and stuff at the hotel room, I would try to time out your food and everything just as you would ahead of a long run normally. So bring that toast with you, bring whatever it is you're going to drink or eat with you on the bus and while you're standing around, so that when the race starts at 5 a.m., you've kind of had roughly the same nutrition schedule as you would have had during your training and during your long runs. But as far as the sleep thing goes, it's just going to be a little funky. The whole day is going to be funky, right? You're going to be taking buses and you're going to be hugging Disney characters and doing all those things you're probably not doing during your long runs. And so just kind of embrace that it's a little bit different. The adrenaline's going to be kicking in as soon as that gun goes off, and you'll be feeling good. So I mean, I guess that's my only tip is mostly around nutrition more than the sleep. But if you can shift your sleep up a little bit or your long run start up a little bit, then I think that's not a bad thing.
Yes. All right. So, I mean, this is a problem. I agree with that. I just don't think you should try. I mean, if you can just not stress about this, I think that'd be the best thing of all. I think, like you said, messing up your sleep schedule on a night, even a week or two in advance, to me is too much messing up of your sleep before a race like this. If you're trying to, I think you're just better off not having any practice with the time and getting a bunch of good sleeps, unless you've got like months. Well, she says January 20th, so that's a couple months. I mean, maybe you could try it now if you really wanted to. But I just wouldn't. I mean, I don't think practicing it once going to make a difference. It's going to be entirely different on race day anyway, because you're going to be on this bus and sitting there for 2 hours. Honestly, I would just get on the bus, bring some snacks on that bus, eat some of those snacks, and don't stress about trying to eat too much or drink too much. Because I had so many races in the early days of marathon running that I got up and I was not hungry, but I was forcing myself to eat. And I was trying to drink way too much fluid because I was trying to follow guidelines. And I remember I would stand in the starting corral, like having to go to the bathroom so badly, number one. But like, it was just a big stressor to me that I like had to now find that porta pot stop, and I couldn't just relax. And my stomach felt queasy because I had eaten all this food that I wasn't hungry for. And so I don't know. I think, and I'm not at all trying to minimize a half marathon, but a half marathon, you're probably going to be, I don't know about Lindsay's pace here, but you're probably going to be done that in 2.5 hours or less, maybe 3. So like, yes, you need some food during that. I don't know that it's all that important to be topping off the glycogen tank, early before you start that race. Have some, gels or fruits or juice or whatever it is you like to have ahead of time. But honestly, I would do that. And like, I don't know if if you want to bring along a bagel somehow or some kind of starchier thing that might help you feel more full
Yeah.
later, bring that. But I just wouldn't stress about putting all that down in your stomach at the start. I just think it's too much.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. The only problem is that it's a long time. I mean, if you're waking up at, let's say, 2:30 to be on the bus at 3, if you eat a little bit at 2:30, you start running at 5:30. It takes you 2.5 hours to run. That's 9 o'clock. You've been awake for 6 hours before you have any food. So that's the only thing is I would suggest maybe just do whatever you're typically doing during your long runs, but just shift it up a little earlier.
Yeah, yep. I think that's right. And if possible, I'd bring that on the bus, not try to do it ahead of the 3 a.m. time. I mean, that's crazy at time. Now, an alternative approach, Doug, you could just not go to bed the night before. Just stay up the whole night. Start your fueling at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., get a big pancake breakfast or something, and get some coffee and just get going, and then pretend like it's a whole different time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good move. Yeah, really smart. Yeah. Now, Mr. Jeffrey brings up a race, an evening start for a half marathon in Vegas, which I have run a few. There was a 10K in Northern Virginia that I ran that started at like 8 p.m. or something like that, and I always found those races went really well for whatever reason. The kind of late afternoon start or night start was just like a totally different feel. I was like getting my night energy going and like ready to party, and I always really liked those races.
I've never done anything like that. It does seem like it would be really strange. Marathon or half marathon seems like a doable thing. I'm very confused by the ultras that start at midnight or something, because like the 12-hour races or the 100 Ks, it just seems weird because then no one's, I don't think, going to sleep the whole day long. So then you're like, you have the overnight part of a 100-miler without having to actually do a 100-miler. I don't know. It just sounds very hard to me. So I never tried it. My segue, the reason I segued from caffeine to this, sort of, not that helpful, but I remember I took some caffeine pills before my my Walt Disney Marathon. I was trying to qualify for Boston at the time. Got some. This was how wise I was. Picked up some caffeine pills as a free sample at the expo, and thought, well, I'll pop these tomorrow morning before I start my race, just get an extra boost. And I remember I broke out in sweats. Like, it was so early and I was sweating in like the first 2 miles of the race. And I thought it was the caffeine. Now, having run a second bad marathon, I did not qualify in that marathon, by the way. Having run now a second bad marathon in Florida, which only this year did I do that. I think it's the heat that was the problem. And I just didn't realize it. But if you train somewhere else during the wintertime and then you go to Florida and it's suddenly warm, I was totally unprepared for that this year. So, Lindsay, wherever you're from, keep that in mind. Maybe it won't be an issue for you if you're in a warmer place. But man, the heat killed me. So I think it was the heat, not the caffeine pills.
Okay.
All right.
That'll probably do it. But the caffeine pills might have had something to do with it too.
Yes. In general, you don't eat new stuff at the expo. That's a cliched running advice that I just ignored back then. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Jeffrey's helping out some stuff, which is good. Mr. Jeffrey, we were wondering about your running streak. I'd love to know how that's going. Do you have another 4 or 5 days since we last talked about it?
An update.
If you do, I'll give you the Will Ferrell sound. Okay, so this one, Doug, more news. Finally, we're onto the vegan stuff. 2 fun ones, and then we'll wrap this up. Number 1, Oscar Mayer celebrated World Vegan Day yesterday with a campaign that was interesting. On the surface, kind of looked like they were changing their tune. They said, this World Vegan Day, don't bake on, bake off. So don't bake it. I mean, it's spelled like bacon. It's their great bake off, where the idea is don't eat bacon during World Vegan Day out of respect for people who are vegan, who can't have this delicious treat. They're saying, and they even blurred it out, put granulated images up on their social media of their bacon all day. Is that what Oscar Mayer's social media is on a non-World Vegan Day? Just pictures of bacon? That's just kind of what...
I have no idea.
If not them, I'm sure there are social media channels that do that. But anyway, so they did that. And the idea was that if you somehow committed to entering the bake-off, out of respect for vegans, and you tag people on social media or whatever you needed to do to enter, then you'd be entered into this contest to win free bacon for a life or for a year. Which was it, Doug? Did you read
For a
this?
year. Or
For
no,
a year.
maybe it was for life, actually.
Maybe they're banking on a short
Lifetime
lifespan.
supply of animal-based bacon.
Maybe they're banking on short lifespan for if they're going to do that. So they can afford to offer such a deal.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I guess so. Anyway, of course, it's all a joke, and at vegans' expense, just to show how silly we are for never having bacon. I hate this stuff, Doug. I just don't like. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the one to go out there and saying you have to go vegan or let's go make fun of meat eaters. And this has never been my way of doing vegan advocacy. And so I guess I don't like it on the vegan side. I don't like it on the other side. I don't like people telling me what they should do. I mean, I just don't get involved in the food wars. So I don't like that a brand is doing this, especially not the brand, because we just talked 2 weeks ago about Oscar Mayer Notco or whatever their spinoff is, or sorry, not Oscar Mayer, the Kraft Heinz, and they're the ones who are behind this. Kraft Heinz, not whatever, is the company that was making all these vegan foods, right? So this is now the same bigwig, same fat cats at the top of the pyramid with two different brands, and they're saying let's make battles that make it seem like one's wrong and the other's right, so that we can just sell more of each. And I don't, I'm not in favor.
No, I hate this in so many ways. I mean, it is absolutely just at the expense of vegans. The whole concept that like if only there wasn't bacon in the world, then everyone would be vegan. That we need to hide bacon. We need to blur it out so that vegans aren't tempted to eat it. Like it's just so ridiculous. I mean, and I mean it's supposed to be ridiculous, right? It's like getting us and everybody else to talk about it. But I think it's unfortunate that the company is making fun of a bunch of people that you're right. They're trying to sell other products to you. So
right. The other thing, like why I really hate this is like you can say a lot of stupid things about vegans being pushy with their diet. I understand that, but like this is a diet that intentionally doesn't kill billions of animals every year, right? Like it's people who don't want that to happen, so they instead make some. And at first, it is a sacrifice when you're not used to it, right? And you have to. It's a challenge. You have to work to be good at being vegan, and like you're doing this to save lives of animals, and it's like that must be made fun of for some reason, right? We must dangle this bacon in front of them and point about how you can't have it. And it's not that you can't have it, right? It's that you choose not to have it because you don't want these animals to die.
Right.
And all these people who are laughing at this probably have pets that they wouldn't want to become some version of bacon. So I don't know. It just bugs me. I think it's stupid. I'm sure vegan brands do the opposite and shame and all that, but I just don't like it. Downer. This is downward facing Doug edition.
Yeah, huge downward facing Doug for Oscar Mayer right now.
So we will boycott the not whatever the not products were from Heinz. Not.
Oh, I was going to buy a bunch of those not products. I really want to try them.
Nope, don't do it. Mr. Jeffrey, I know, is all into those, so he can tell us what we need to boycott.
So the article, this Veg News article, which called it out, and I really appreciate them doing that. It is titled, "Is Oscar Mayer's Give Up Bacon Campaign Admitting a Flaw in Our Food System?" What it goes on to, after the whole Oscar Mayer thing, it goes on to talk about different types of vegan bacon and how they've made some progress on those. All the brands pretty much that they mentioned, I have never had, so I can't really speak to those. But I will say I have yet to have anything that tastes anything like bacon or is really even enjoyable enough for me to want to eat it. Like all the fake bacon stuff to me has just been a huge miss. I don't know about you.
I have, any that you buy in the store. What is shockingly good is shiitake mushrooms. Toss them in olive oil, salt, pepper, little smoked paprika. Now that you have it, Doug, just a tiny bit to get some smokiness added to the umami that's already present in the mushrooms. Bake that at whatever, 325. This is in the No Meat Athlete cookbook, by the way, but you can also just Google shiitake bacon. Doesn't have to be complicated ingredients, just that. And it tastes and the texture is remarkably like bacon. I mean, it's an effort to make it. You got to do that. But it's, I mean, relatively speaking, not a lot of effort to cook that. And if you thought you can't give a bacon, honestly, I don't know. It's been so long that I've had it since I've had bacon, so I don't really know. But to me, this tastes just like it. And it's like, maybe not as good. I'm sure it wouldn't be as good if I had it side by side, but it's
very good.
So close. Yeah. So do that if you've never
Scratches the itch. Okay, I've never made the recipe. I should do that. Bacon's never been one of those things that like I just have to have.
Yeah, I know it has that enticing aroma, but
Mhm.
it's never that good. Never was that good. All
The
right.
whole health experience is shouting out Badass Vegan for an interview he did, a conversation he had with Fitman Cook about the
Okay.
pig farming industry, and I actually listened to half of that this morning on my way from school drop off today, and
Ah.
it was very good. It is, and it's very enlightening about the pig industry, pork
Hmm.
industry, and how terrible it is for not just the animals, but also anyone who lives around there and that kind of thing, the environment.
Hmm. Right. Good. All right. Well, thank you there, Mr. Jeffrey. That's who did it, or someone else? No, whole health
Uh,
experience.
whole
Whole health
health
experience.
experience, yeah.
One of our other regulars. All right. Last one, Doug. This one's goofy. This is funny. And perhaps another just sort of thing at the expense of vegans. I'm not sure. This is from Fox Business, which makes me raise an eyebrow because it doesn't really sound like a business article to me. Vegan woman left almost in tears after eating meat-based Burger King meal. Vegan Liana Hutchins stated she does not believe the Burger King branch took the situation seriously. So this is my mom also sent me this. My mom two articles today. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, this is a UK. We know the UK and their Burger King. They've got. Oh man, I'm not all. My sound machine's not ready. They're really good on the vegan stuff, much more than in the United States. So this is a woman in the UK went in. She ordered. I mean, the article's not a good one, but it sounds like she ordered plant-based chicken nuggets, which Burger King there has. I don't know if they all have it all year round, but they often do. She ordered that, and she got a regular nugget. And somehow I don't think she knew, she couldn't tell. Smell and texture was different from that of a plant based one, but I guess she still decided to take a bite and thought this doesn't taste vegan. And apparently she was almost in tears. Her family was there. They spent 65 pounds on the meal or something, and she wanted a full refund. But she called. I guess they just sort of dismissed her, and they said they put the manager put her on the phone with the man who packed the order. He said go to the head office. They eventually got a refund on only the chicken nuggets, which was 5 pounds, but they would not refund the rest of the meal. And that is the article. And Fox just leaves it there. So I don't really get what the news is here, or if it's a controversy or what. I mean, I don't know. Burger King's doing. I think they're doing some pretty good things for us, so I'm not too upset by this. And I mean, these are fast food employees, right? These are kids. They're punks. They come in, they do their job, make their minimum wage. At least they're working, not sitting at home. Uh, so I don't know. You're not gonna get great employees at fast food restaurants. It's just how it is. Fact of the world.
I think listening to you tell these stories on articles like this is like it just cracks me up because you're trying to like get into it and like feel the emotion of the she
Yeah.
was almost in tears, like just like total travesty. It's like,
Right.
I don't know. It's really funny to me listening to you tell these stories. Okay. Restaurants mess up, people mess up. Like it's unfortunate. I think that we're probably going to see a lot more of this type of stuff because they do look and feel similar and people are just going to screw up orders and so it will be important I think for restaurants to serve both plant nuggets and chicken nuggets next to each other in the same fryer or next to each other in different fryers for them to have like really good ways to kind of make sure that they're not mixing up bags and putting them in the right boxes and the right wrapping. I mean, at least here in the US, the Impossible Whopper is wrapped in a wrapper that says Impossible on it.
Hmm.
And so, there should be some way to kind of differentiate. So I would be mad too if I were her. Like I would be pretty pissed too, and I would want my refund. But I don't really know why this story exists except except that it's on Fox. Which all of these stories, like the one about the airplane that we talked about yesterday, the vegan who got served water, all these stories that are like vegan, eats meat by accident and or mom serves kid vegan meat, like it's all these like these organizations that that are not necessarily for vegans or like people who tend to go vegan necessarily. I'm not trying to stereotype anybody, but
Right.
and I think that they're just doing it for the clicks and the like comments and stuff. People are like, ha, look at that vegan, she's almost in tears.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, the headline is almost a mocking headline, right?
Yeah.
They put almost in tears in quotes in the headline. It's just, I don't know. And I think you're exactly right. I think they're doing it for whatever attention they get from it, and shares and comments. I'm sure they get a lot of engagement. I mean, they do. You read these comments and they're like, I hate reading the comments of these. And there's always some guy who says, I'm 70 years old and have eaten meat my entire life and I'm in perfect health. And they try to prove the whole vegan idea wrong with just their example. But lots of, I mean, it's just stupid.
SJ Cookie 333 says that twice now they've been served with beef burgers in restaurants instead of veggie burgers and didn't realize it until they took a bite. That is surprising to me. Twice that's happened to you twice, and I think that that's probably just going to keep happening. Like I said, as they get more and more similar, because you're not going to be able to notice it.
Right. And that's the interesting thing is that this, like, I was thinking, are there other situations where you have food allergies and then something comes out that is so similar? I mean, obviously, this is not a food allergy. This is just, and there's something called Natasha's Law, by the way, in the UK. And because of that, it requires food businesses to include a full list of ingredients and allergens on the labeling for prepackaged foods. So I don't know what that does, but I guess somehow it makes people more aware of what's going on. But I was thinking, are there serious allergies? Like, does this happen? Because this has definitely happened to me. Not a full burger like that, but I've had like you go to Moe's or whatever, or Chipotle. Chipotle's never done it, but Moe's, you order a vegan thing, a beans, all this, burrito, and then you take a bite or a bowl, and you take a bite of something, and you say that's definitely meat that I am chewing, and then you just spit it out. And like, I don't. I guess you could. I've never gone to the manager about that. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to like make that kind of scene. I don't like to have that. I don't like to be one of those vegans, right? And it's not me. I don't like vegans to look like that. So I don't say anything. I just
if you get a bowl and they put chicken in it and you ordered a bean bowl, you don't take it back?
No, a piece of chicken. Like, because everything's lined up,
single
right?
Piece of chicken. Okay,
yeah, okay. Very easy to make a mistake. But I guess this is a little bit different because someone just gave entirely chicken nuggets.
I would definitely take them back, the nuggets back, and be like, "Hey, I ordered vegan nuggets. Can you?"
Right, because you want the things you ordered. Yeah, right. Of course, you want to get the food you ordered. But the question is like, were you wronged by having done this? Other than the normal wrongness of getting a wrong order, I don't know. I mean, like if it's an allergy, yeah. But if it's just that you don't believe you should eat this food, I don't really think it's any more wrong than like if you order a burger without cheese as a non-vegan and you get cheese on it,
right?
Because you don't like cheese. To me, it kind of just sounds like that. Again, I don't know that this
they just messed up. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if vegan, because of what it is, an ideology, if that is deserving of like more serious treatment than this. And when someone messes up an order, it needs to be escalated and it needs to never happen again. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I actually don't know if it should.
I mean, I think if they're going to serve those things, then they should have protocols in place of like, we keep this food over here, we keep that food over there.
Yeah, right.
Because it's a little bit different than like, putting cheese on a salad and then just leaving cheese off of salad, right? I mean, it's a different, just like you wouldn't serve a chicken burger when someone ordered a beef burger, right? Like you'd make sure that you were giving them a beef burger instead of a chicken burger. But yeah, I mean, right. I mean, I think everybody here tends to agree in the comment section. We're getting a lot of comments of people who have had that happen to them. That mistakes happen, unfortunately, and it's just kind of, you just deal with it as it happens and hope for the best that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, exactly. And it was So in general, I think it'll be interesting. This will happen more and more, like you said, because with other allergy things, like if the thing comes, you can inspect your burger and see if the allergen ingredient is there, and then if it was a life-threatening allergy, you would be really careful about that. With plant-based stuff, it's not that easy because it's going to get more and more similar. So hopefully, I'm sure the labeling, like the Impossible Burger wrapper, like you said, I'm sure that will become more the norm, and there will be fewer and fewer of these mix-ups. But for now, it's funny that vegans do this, according to Fox Business News. All right, I guess that's it, Doug. Anything else today? Sort of weird stories, but it's all right. I needed a little bit of a little slowdown today, and
I got a little challenge for everybody to think about over the next 24 hours until 23 hours until next tomorrow, and this goes for you too. I've been racking my brain. All right, so Taylor Swift has the Swifties, Justin Bieber has the Believers. The Texas
The
A&M
fans.
has the 12th man.
Okay.
They're like
Yep.
big fans, right? I feel like we have so many people who are here every single day. We got a core crew here, and I want a name for them because I just love that they're here. And I want to give each of them their own, I don't know, just they're part of the club. So I think we need to be thinking about what we should call them. And Mr. Jeffrey's already thrown out ideas. I'm gonna ask everybody to refrain from sharing their ideas until tomorrow because I want to know. I want you to think about it, marinate on it. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay. All right, I like it. I heard another clip of the Taylor Swift song, whatever the hit is, "Anti-Hero," I think. And I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as bad as I thought the first time.
That line, the main line, "Hey, it's me."
I don't
I forget what it is. It's so good. That line is so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, did she have more songs than 10 on the top 10? Like, are there more than 10 songs on the album? And it's just the 10 was the number that was exciting to everyone? And apparently Drake had 9 songs last year or something. So she's not going to be the last one to fill up the top 10 with a new album drop. But anyway, that is that.
Good question. Not sure.
Well, you can do your homework. You can have homework and figure that out for us. But I like the assignment in general, Doug. I'm interested to hear if anyone will come up with names. And we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Thursday's always a fun episode. I like Thursdays. And then Friday's even better. And then it's the weekend.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow or listening.
All right. Oh, hey, one more thing. I forgot, Doug. We're gonna start sharing our Instagrams. Real Matt Frazier is mine. Yours is Rock Creek Runner. You mentioned to me you might change the name.
I think I'm going to. I haven't done it yet.
But anyway, if you want to go see what we're doing in real life, you can do that there. And
if we come up with a good enough name for our fan group, then maybe we need like a fan club Instagram account too.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna need that. All right, that's all. Bye, everyone. Thanks for showing up.
Bye, guys.